Hello, my name is Tony Beers, and this is Movie Grades.
And just like the movies, we play out our last scene.
Hey everybody, Tony Beers here again, and this is a very special episode of Movie Grades, Top 5 Popular Movies That I Just Don't Get. Now these are movies that are either popular by the fans or by critics, but I just don't get why they're so popular. Number 5 is Tron Legacy, and just like Clash of the Titans, I have seen the original, and I was completely bored by it. I respect the original for being the first movie to have this much CGI in a movie. The thing is, being the first movie to have a new technology, the first is usually bad. I thought the whole visual style was very simple and boring. The effects weren't so good. Like the people's faces, for example, were all gray, and I thought that was weird and dumb. And that's how I saw the original Tron. So that's the reason I have no interest in seeing this movie. Number 4 is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. I have never been interested in Harry Potter, not the books nor the movies. I've seen the original movie, and I thought that was boring and a very child-oriented movie. It didn't appeal to me. I like fantasy movies. In fact, they're probably one of my favorite type of movies is fantasy movies, but for some reason this movie didn't connect with me. Since I didn't like the first one, I have never seen anyone after that. One reason that I don't like Harry Potter is for the same reason that I don't like the Twilight series, is that in the Twilight series they're not real vampires and werewolves, and in Harry Potter he's not a real wizard. And there's a couple reasons I say this. One is he rides a broomstick. Okay, now, wizards don't ride broomsticks. Who does ride broomsticks? Witches. So, Harry Potter is not a wizard. That would make him a witch, or a male witch, which would be a warlock. And number 2, most wizards don't use magic wands. You know who do use magic wands? Fairies. Tinkerbell, the fairy godmother, the 3 fairies from Sleeping Beauty, and even the Tooth Fairy, they all use magic wands. So, what have we learned? Harry Potter is not a wizard. He's either a warlock or a fairy. And my guess is he's a fairy. Now moving on to number 3, Twilight Eclipse. Now, as I just said, the biggest reason for me hating these Twilight movies is that these creatures in these movies are not vampires or werewolves. There's something completely different. In the original books, the Wolfman and Dracula were considered monsters. These were considered horror books. People were afraid of these creatures, and now they're romanticized into romantic creatures. You could say that the modern day movie monsters are characters like Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. Now, just imagine if 40 years from now they make another Freddy vs. Jason, and only this time Freddy and Jason are fighting over Bella. Now that would be terrifying. People would hate that if they made that. That's an example of what they're doing today with these Twilight movies. They're taking these monsters and making them to these other characters. Number 2, Inception. Inception is this year's Avatar. What I mean by that is last year that Avatar was extremely popular by fans and critics alike. The biggest reason that critics gave for loving this movie, Avatar, was that it was original. I and many other people will have to disagree. Now let me interject something here about Avatar. Many people say it rips off movies such as Dances with Wolves or Pocahontas or even Ferngully, as some people have said. And let me throw in a movie into that list. Star Trek Insurrection. I think I caught a few people off guard with that, but think about it. What is Star Trek Insurrection about? Captain Picard is given orders to move an alien race from their planet to another planet, and in doing this he learns about these people and their culture and that how they're more in tune with nature. He falls in love with one of the alien women and decides to disobey his orders and fight against the people who he is actually working for. Okay, does that movie sound familiar? The only difference between Star Trek Insurrection and Avatar is in Avatar, the aliens are blue. So, there you go. Another movie that Avatar rips off. Now, back to Inception. As soon as I saw this trailer, I was like, oh, it doesn't impress me not one bit. I like Christopher Nolan as a director. I love The Dark Knight. Batman Begins is great. The Prestige is pretty good. I haven't seen any of his other films, but he's a good director. Thing is, this concept is not original at all, which is what most people say is, oh, this film is so great, it's so original and everything. But it's not. Going into people's minds, that's been done many times before. You've got Matrix or the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. You know, several other movies just like that. Oh, it's not original. A lot of people say, yeah, but it's not based on any properties. It's not based on a book. It's not a sequel. It's not a remake. It's not a reboot. It's not a reimagining. That doesn't make it original. And nor does it make it good. I mean, just like South Park said, just because the story is complex doesn't make it good. Another thing I don't like about Inception is Leonardo DiCaprio and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. These two actors, a lot of people are saying are such great actors, but I'm sorry, I can't take these guys seriously when they look like 8-year-old boys. And the number one popular movie that I just don't get is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. This one didn't do very well at the box office, yet the people that actually did see this really love this movie, and I'm really baffled as to why. I saw the trailer and I thought to myself, well, this is supposed to be a comedy. It's not funny. I hate the visual style. I hate the pop-up words and stuff like that. I hate the split screen. The characters seem like stuck-up hipster doofuses. Like I said about Legion, characters are very important to me, and all these characters look awful. And the funny thing is that Edgar Wright, the director, has directed Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, and I love those two movies. But the thing is, neither of those movies needed these crazy visual effects, you know. They were funny without them. Also, Scott Pilgrim doesn't have Simon Pegg, which he usually teams up with, which leads me to believe that maybe Simon Pegg was the one with actual talent in this team up. So that's why Scott Pilgrim is number one. Again, let me say that my list of top 5 popular movies that I don't get, this is just my opinions based on the trailer. I haven't seen these movies, so my opinion of them can easily change after I've seen them, but I haven't seen them. From what I've seen from the trailers, they look very bad to me, and if you disagree, that's fine. This is just my opinion based on the trailer. That's the list, people, and thanks for watching.